Hello and welcome to a brand new live edition of Squared Circle Radio, the show that is for the fans, by the fans. I'm your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting, Chris Belcher. Thank you so much for hanging with us, whether it's your first time or you've been with us for a minute. You know the drill. Smash the like button, drop your comments, drop your questions for us to answer live, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, I'm Chris Belcher. That's the Young Buck, my tag team partner, Mr. Andy York. And Andy, we're coming off a big Backlash pay-per-view, another edition of Monday Night Raw, less than 2 weeks from Saturday night's main event, and the Money in the Bank, before you know it, is here.
Yeah, there is a lot happening right now, not just in the world of wrestling, but in life as well. So it's a lot to take in and to cover. But, the last couple of weeks have been really solid TV. And then Backlash was what it was kind of supposed to be, which we'll talk a lot about. And, tonight's episode of Raw was no different.
Yeah, absolutely it was. So again, if this is your first time being with us, just make sure that you subscribe, hit that notifications bell. That way you know each and every time that we go live. And that is every Monday night after Raw, after subsequent pay-per-views and so on and so forth. All right, Andy, let's get into it before we go. Before we get too far down a rabbit hole of talking about something else. The main reason that we are here, John Cena, in his first championship defense at Backlash, defeated Randy Orton. Okay, we all sort of knew that was going to happen. Yes, we like to joke around, Andy, that Randy Orton always has at least a 45% chance in championship matches. John Cena gets the victory, but that's not what I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the match, but I want to save that, because to me, what happened after the match is far more impactful than what happened during the match. You see, John Cena retains his championship. He grabs the microphone, cuts a promo about wanting some competition. And then afterwards, Andy, after the show goes off the air, I don't know about you, but man, when the actual pay-per-view goes off and then the press conference stream comes up, I stick around and watch for just a minute because you never know what's going to happen. And Andy, the story was told right then, right after the pay-per-view went off the air. You saw the picture on the thumbnail. You see it behind me. The expression on John Cena's face changed. Andy, he's questioning everything. There was something that clicked in his brain, and we don't know what it is because we haven't heard from him yet. Something clicked that is starting to make him question this heel turn and who he has become. What was your reaction when you saw this?
Yeah, I was kind of taken back by it because I honestly didn't expect to get these kind of developments for his character this early. So I thought that aspect of it was pretty interesting. I thought the crowd did their part of chanting "Thank you, Cena," and as they're chanting that, that's like the moment that started to kind of sink in a little bit for him, and he started to have whatever midlife crisis in his mind he was having. But yeah, I think the post show, like everything that happened after the match was over with Cena, just kind of plays into his character even more. He's doing this because he thinks it's our fault as fans to drive him to this, and now that we're showing him appreciation, it's almost like it's too late for him to feel this way about us now. And so it's starting to form and starting to fix itself in a way that like we're starting to see that go forward. So I don't know what to expect from him from now on. Obviously, we saw what happened during the actual post show itself during the press conference. So he is still same old bad guy John Cena as of now.
Yep.
But I honestly, after this, I'm expecting the face turn to happen a lot sooner rather than being his last match in Boston, which they did announce, after the pay-per-view as well.
Yes. Yeah. And then we'll get into that as the months go on. But yeah, I completely agree, man. A face turn is coming. Sam Roberts on his emergency pod reaction on Sunday morning called Cena a robot. And he said, this is a glitch in the John Cena robot because the real John Cena, the one that we see at the beginning of every promo that created that toy championship with the tinfoil and the duct tape and the what have you, that real John Cena that doesn't want to ruin wrestling is still in there. So we're starting to see, it's like he's installed this software of heel John Cena, and it's glitching. There's updates to the system that need to be updated, and there's some things that are creeping in that are like the old John Cena. So it's clearly coming out. But as you mentioned in the press conference, R-Truth shows up in the press conference, who also showed up at the end of the match, essentially helping John Cena win. And Cena was great in this press conference, Andy. He was willing to answer the media's question until Truth came in and said, man, I love you, John. You're my hero no matter what, even though people say that you suck and you can't wrestle. And it's like it snapped Cena back into what he wants to be, I guess. And he puts R-Truth, I almost called him Ron because Cena called him Ron, puts R-Truth through the table, thus seemingly, okay, we're back to this heel John Cena, but it still makes us fans wonder, Andy, like you said, when is this switch going to happen sooner than we probably thought?
Yeah, I completely agree. Because obviously, I mean, I can see, in Saturday night's main event, which is what, next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not this coming Saturday, but
the following one. Yeah. I could see them doing John Cena versus R-Truth at that show. And we could play into this more, but if anybody can turn John Cena sort of back to being a babyface, R-Truth is kind of that guy.
Yep.
And so I could see them starting to play into that even more, of maybe Cena starts to teeter, maybe something starts to happen, but then like a Cody Rhodes comes back and it just sends him right back into that mindset that he was pre-WrestleMania. Yep. So there's a lot of options that they can do. There's a lot of ways they can go with it. But I'm more intrigued now than I have been in a while with the Cena heel turn, because the Cena heel turn was awesome when it happened, and then everything that happened at WrestleMania kind of watered it down a little bit. And then everything that's kind of been happening the last couple of weeks, nothing really crazy has been going on. This is starting to bring some intrigue back to it for me.
Yeah, it's definitely given us something to latch on to, because think about the possibility of, I know we're really just, as Sam Roberts likes to say, we're speculating wildly here, that R-Truth could win the championship and it just be the wildest thing. Just absolutely insane. Jared Justice, our third co-host, would just lose his mind if in a bad way. Andy and I would be all for it.
Yeah.
Bring all the chaos.
It could be worse than Jinder winning the title, so I'm all for it.
100%. Yeah. Even if Cena beats him like 48 hours later or something, listen, Truth winning a title. But to your point about Truth possibly turning Cena, see, I think it could even be the opposite, because we see these little seeds of these things being planted about Cena possibly turning. But dude, who are they going to boo? Cena or Truth? Especially when he beats the snot out of R-Truth. Like, especially because Truth snapped him back into what he seemingly is now. So the people will boo the crap out of him. But like going back to that Backlash before before the press conference, going back to Cena really just whatever this is that's happening, you have to think, man, like you mentioned a little earlier about the thank you Cena chants. You could see the emotion on his face. It's almost like he was saying, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, you people are still cheering me. And I just don't get it. It's like the question that Sam Roberts posed, Andy, it's the same thing that I'm going to pose to you. It's like in Cena's mind, he is saying what I'm doing is wrong. And in my gut, I know it, but I can't change it now. But is this really how I want to go out? I know, Andy, that maybe this heel turn isn't exactly what we all dreamed of. Like you mentioned, there have been spots that are good, but is this really how he wants to go out? I think the answer is no.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think this is how he ultimately wants to go out. I think we're going to get at least a couple of months with babyface Cena back.
Yes.
And so I could see him dropping the title at SummerSlam, doing the turn again at SummerSlam, being back to a babyface at post SummerSlam. And then the last half of his run, like the last half of the year, is babyface John Cena going up against whoever. I think that is a very likely, outcome that we could see happen. But I could also see him like fighting this character, this urge, or this, whatever, this personal demon he has in his life, fighting it all the way until Survivor Series, and then his last match, he's the babyface comeback. We get it one last time for the final time. So there's a lot of different options they could do. There's a lot of different ways they could go. But the more this story starts to develop and the more this turn kind of goes deeper and deeper, the more I'm starting to realize maybe this wasn't as planned out as we thought.
Sure. Yeah.
And this was not necessarily a last second decision, but like what if we just did this and let's just see what happens? And I feel like that's kind of what we've gotten so far.
Do you think it would have been more successful had they planned it out a little more, or had it not been such a on the whim type decision? Or the reason I asked that is because I saw some people floating around online today. Maybe Vince McMahon was right and we shouldn't turn this guy heel.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it like from the back, from a massive, 30,000 foot view or whatever, however you say that phrase, I always mess it up. But like the thing that has dragged this down the most is The Rock. Like The Rock's involvement in all of this is useless and is pointless. And it's just to do what they needed to do to get Elimination Chamber over, because from that moment on, you had to have him show up at WrestleMania for this to work. And he didn't show up. Travis Scott took his place, and we've seen the reaction that got and the discourse that has brought in to everything. And then everything that Rock said post WrestleMania of just like, yeah, we didn't really have a plan. Like, we didn't really know what we were doing. It was just kind of doing our own thing out there. The Rock being The Rock. I feel like if you could have done this turn on Cody with Cena without the involvement of The Rock, and it wouldn't have put a negative on what they've done so far, because you're now not setting really high expectations that a month out from WrestleMania you're not going to hit, but still having those expectations out there anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think it's interesting how it ended, how it came about. I definitely would have liked more planning in this. I think if given the proper time ahead of it, they could have maybe been more successful here, because I'll be honest, like after the Elimination Chamber and right after WrestleMania, like I've put the Rock thing to bed. Like it is what it is at this point. Now let's see how you do standing on your own. And the couple of weeks with Randy has been fine, but it seems like it's been a rinse and repeat of what happened with Cody. So I'm more curious about, how do you capitalize now? How do you keep me more intrigued now? Which now it seems like it's going to be Cena fighting himself, figuring out if he's a heel or a babyface. Okay, that's fine, but I really didn't get a heel John Cena. I guess my ultimate question is like, do you as a fan regret John Cena turning heel? Would you have just preferred? I know it's hindsight. We probably still have a couple months left, but would you have rather just seen straight up John Cena for a year and we're done with
it? See, I don't know. It's hard to gauge that, and it's hard to decide that, because I really enjoy fleshing out this heel persona of John Cena. Like I'm enjoying that aspect of it. Everything post Elimination Chamber, the promos that he cut while they were on the European tour and everything was just perfect. I mean, everything about that, the first 3 weeks of this run was absolutely amazing. But everything since then has kind of been more missed than hit. So I don't know. I think it's going to get a lot of comparisons to Austin turning heel, of just doing it just to do it. Which I get that. Like, I get that argument, and depending on where we go, that's probably going to be the outcome of this whole thing. Is like, well, we just kind of did it. The moment was great. The moment kind of ruled, but everything after that was like, okay, whatever. But it's just, you got to give him credit, because it's something new and it's something different. And, yes, I agree with you. I wish planning would have gone into this more because I think there is diamonds in this. I think they can do something very special with this.
Yeah.
But I think they've kind of backed themselves into the corner of I'm not changing anything because I've always been the bad guy. You guys have just never realized it, even though we have realized it. And like, I'm not doing this or the other. I'm going to kill professional wrestling. When you make a statement that you're going to kill professional wrestling, people aren't going to like what you do. So like, you got to kind of be willing to accept that when you make that statement.
Yeah, I mean, like they're booking this as an old school heel, and like you're not supposed to like the fact that he's won both matches with a nut shot followed by a belt shot. Like you're not supposed to like that. We weren't supposed to like the fact that Roman Reigns won every match by interference, but guess what? He did it. He did it for 1,300 days, and now we're like, our tribal chief, acknowledge you. Like it in the moment, it may seem terrible, but at the end, we're gonna look back on it and be like, listen. John Cena was a heel. They swung for the fences, and it was what it was. I'm like you. I think we still have a little bit longer to soak this in. I think we still have a little bit longer to enjoy this. I'm anxious to see where they go from here. Andy, I know he's scheduled for quite a few appearances between now and at least Money in the Bank. So we'll see what happens after that. Appreciate you guys being tuned in live with us. I got some good live viewership tonight. Drop those comments, drop those questions. We would appreciate that so very much. Before we move on to Backlash, Michael Mack is in the chat and he is commenting RIP to Sabu. And for those of you who are watching and don't know, Andy, let's go ahead and pivot to that right now. We were going to talk about this later. Let's talk about it right now, and then we'll get to WWE Backlash. Sabu, the hardcore legend, ECW original, passed away on Sunday. A very sad situation. Obviously, he just had a match over WrestleMania weekend at Joey Janela's spring break thing. I'm fairly certain. I think that was billed as his retirement match. But Sabu passing away, man. Michael, again in the chat, Sabu will be missed. He absolutely will. What are your memories of the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal Sabu? I know you weren't even born when this guy came onto the scene in ECW, but obviously he's one that you've gone back and watched.
Yeah, the when I think of like guys that have paved the way for that style of wrestling in particular, of like the extreme and the dangerous, he is probably at the forefront of that.
Yes.
I think you have to put obviously him, Terry Funk, Mick Foley. You have to put those guys at the forefront of this. And I know we use this term a lot and we throw this term around, but for him, it was true. He literally was an industry changer. Like he changed the industry forever doing the things that he did. Obviously, I've gone back and watched a lot of his stuff. Gone back and watched a lot of his ECW stuff. The picture that you just showed, that barbed wire match between him and Terry Funk is something else. I mean, it is brutal, it is chaotic, it is violent, and it is beautiful all at the same time. I think of his match with Rey Mysterio at One Night Stand. That match was awesome. Obviously, when he came to WWE, he wasn't going to get to do the things that he normally did with ECW. But those matches he had with Cena were very special and showcase that side of him. So I'm a huge Sabu fan. I'm going to miss him. I've obviously gone back and watched. I'm going to continue to go back and watch a lot of his stuff. He's a industry changing guy that made wrestling that people thought was just stupid or weird or gross. He made it cool and relevant and passed that tradition down. And so he will absolutely be missed.
Definitely not the most technical wrestler. Definitely not going to be the cleanest, but like you said, industry changer, dude. I remember watching Sabu. As you see this picture on our YouTube channel of him doing the Arabian face buster, his finisher to Rhino. Like Sabu was an industry changer. Andy, nobody did the things that Sabu did before Sabu did them. Like he truly revolutionized this high flying. Like nobody is doing a coast to coast if it's not for Sabu. Nobody is doing, crazy ladder spots had it not been for Sabu. Yes, Shawn and Razor had their ladder match probably before Sabu was really well known, but hear me out though. All of these crazy stunts that people do, Sabu was doing them first.
Yep.
Like he did all these things and he did not care to put his body on the line. Just most people didn't see it until WWE bought ECW and he became more well known. And I'm not going to say he's going to go in the Hall of Fame, but there are so many wrestlers who were friends with him, who looked up to him. We saw CM Punk tonight pay tribute to him when he came to the ring. So Sabu was a generational talent that's probably not going to get the love that everybody else normally would get.
Yeah. And, that's kind of like part of that is like, I hate that for him because he deserves, we're putting in all these other people. I think Sabu absolutely deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame for the things that he did.
Yep.
I mean, he like you said, he was. There's not many men in this world. There's not many wrestlers in this world at 60 years old. Whether he should have done the match or not, that's an argument to be had one way or another.
Sure.
But to dive face first into barbed wire at 60 years old and not care, there aren't many men built like that. And so, yeah, he changed, he changed the way people viewed violent, hardcore wrestling. And I think he did it for the better. I think you have to put him and Terry Funk up there for that because those two guys, like you said, they did whatever it took to entertain and they put their body on the line and they put other people's bodies on the line when they did it. And everybody knew it. And
better or for worse, they did.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I really hope he gets in the Hall of Fame at some point. I really hope he gets the recognition that he deserves. And, if you haven't gone back and watched anything, go back and watch just anything from his catalog. And I promise you it will not disappoint you.
Just don't go back and watch the match with Taz where Taz does the backdrop and it drops Sabu on his neck. That's very, very gross.
It's a rough one. That's a rough one.
Watch that one.
Those two guys went to war all the time too, man.
Yes, they did. That is so true. So thoughts and prayers to the family of Sabu and those who were close to him. Us at Squared Circle Radio extend our condolences. Sabu, the hardcore legend, will definitely be missed in the world of professional wrestling. Thank you, Michael, for that comment. We appreciate it so very much. And again, watching us live, drop those comments, drop those questions. We will answer them. We will talk about the things that you want to hear about. We got pages of notes here, ladies and gentlemen, but listen, you drive the conversation. You tell us what you want to hear about. This show is for the fans, by the fans, for a reason. Let's get back to WWE Backlash, though, Andy. The actual match between John Cena and Randy Orton, billed as one last time. Michael Cole sort of said it on commentary that he doesn't know if this is going to be the last time. So we could see another iteration of this, maybe a tag or something that involves Cody Rhodes. Nonetheless, Andy, the match itself was far better, I think, than any of us expected. I know Jared was in the comments last week on our preview show saying that they should add a no disqualification stipulation. We didn't get the stipulation, but we got some extra things towards the end. I was highly entertained by this.
Yeah, they used every smoke and mirror they could in this match, and I am fine with that. Like, that's what you needed for this match. However, if you'd have told me like a month and a half ago that John Cena versus Randy Orton would be better than John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, I'd have told you there ain't no way. It blew that match out of the water.
Yeah, it did.
Everything that happened from the RKO fest that Randy Orton went on to, putting him through the table, which, by the way, I kind of like the new announced tables, but we got to get rid of them because they are not doing anything and people are just bouncing off of them.
Well, I think that was a terrible AA. I don't think that was executed very well. Like, I'm not.
No, but at least the other tables, like, you barely hit them and they fell.
That's fair. They're trying to find the happy medium, so I understand.
They are.
I almost wish Cena wouldn't have on his way down like knocked it over, so that it would like that was the dumb part in my opinion.
Yeah. And then Randy tried to move it, and he was like, "Oh no, this is like screwed into the floor. It's not going anywhere.
I can't move this thing."
Yeah,
that was really funny. Speaking of that, yes, I think Cody Cena round 2, as long as that happens, will far surpass Cody Cena round 1. But man, you're saying that if you would have told yourself that Cena Cody would not have been as good as Cena Orton, I would have just been blown away for someone to tell me Cena versus Orton might be the best match on his retirement tour. Like, to me, like, no, that's not happened. There's no way. Right now, like, far and away, it's going to be tough to beat. Talk about the RKO Fest, man. Orton hit yet another one on Nick Aldis. Andy, we have to be headed toward this match at some point.
So.
Do we not?
I hope so. I love Nick Aldis and his role that he's in right now. I want to see him wrestle again.
Yes.
We need to get to the point where we can say, oh yeah, Nick Aldis versus Gunther is happening. And I'm like, yes, please let that happen at some point. Yeah. I would love a Nick Aldis Randy Orton match. SummerSlam. Book it at SummerSlam.
That's what I think too. Sam Roberts, another thing that he said on his podcast was the fact that Randy hasn't been able to hit the punt yet. So he thinks that they're saving that for when Orton really has to dig down and really get it. What if the first punt is on Aldis? And that's what drives Aldis finally to a match. Like we've seen a fine for the first RKO. Orton paid him double so that he would have the one covered for the other one. Now he's hit a third one. So Aldis is going to have to come up with something else. Probably he's going to suspend Randy. Randy's going to come back. Randy's probably going to punt Nick, and that's going to push this thing over the edge. City Kitty back in the chat. Love this match, except for the ending. Thank you, City Kitty, for joining us again tonight. Yeah, the ending, like I said just a few minutes ago, man, it's probably not exactly what we'd like. We didn't like Roman Reigns endings for 1,300 days, and here we are, and we all lived through it. It's just John Cena being an old school heel.
Yeah. And for now, that's fine. But at some point, that excuse gets very tiresome and very old very quickly, because it happened very quickly with the bloodline. Yep. Honestly, though, expect this ending until Cody comes back and finally hits Cena in the nuts and then hits him in the head with the title. Like that's how that's Matt. Like I can promise you, that's how Cody's going to win the title back, is by doing the exact same thing to Cena. Because he couldn't do it at WrestleMania. He didn't do it at WrestleMania. Yep. Now he's doing it to Orton. He's going to probably do it to Truth. He's probably going to do it to whoever else he wrestles down the line. So yeah, I would just say get used to the ending. I'm with you though. I don't like the ending either, but to build to that moment, they're going to make it worth it. And so he's got to do it to everybody else to build to that moment when Cody does it to him.
There's a reason that Roman had interference in every match, and it led to bloodline rules, and that led to the Avengers ending that we got at WrestleMania 40. I'm not saying we're headed to an Avengers ending with John Cena. What I am saying is exactly what Andy's saying. It's going to pay off. We don't know how yet. Just give it some time. It's going to pay off. Speaking of paying off, Andy, we saw an incredibly vicious fatal four-way match for the United States Championship. Thoughts and prayers out to Drew McIntyre after this spot. If he is truly hurt and his head hit the concrete, just thoughts and prayers out to that situation. But Andy, what I really want to bring up with this, Jacob Fatu retains his championship with the help of the debut of Jeff Cobb, the man that you have been clamoring for such a long time. Andy, I'm going to let you cook for a minute. Please tell the lovely listeners and viewers of Squared Circle Radio who Jeff Cobb is, why it's significant that he's here, and what impact he could have on the landscape of WWE.
Yeah, so Jeff Cobb is one of those guys that, a lot like a Jacob Fatu and even like Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, guys I never expected to see in a WWE ring at some point. If you ever watch Lucha Underground, and I forget what his name was there, but he was the big monster guy there that had the mask and the blue jumpsuit, and I forget the owner's name. He was like his monster, was the world title. He held the world title there for a while. He's done a lot of stuff like that, but he also has done a lot in New Japan. And has been really prevalent there for the last couple of years. He's just one of those guys that he's a big dude, but he's athletic. and he can really just he does things that nobody his size should really do, and he's as fast as some other guys, and just is really, really special. He is older, which I know probably was a concern for WWE for a while. But what his role is, and coming into the bloodline, I think they're trying to make him feel like the new Jacob, to put a little pressure on Jacob, so that when he splits from the bloodline, goes to separate ways, he can, Jacob will be this massive star, and Jeff Cobb will be right behind him. But I love this debut. I love that he's with the bloodline. I love that they're trying to build him up. And whenever we get a Jeff Cobb versus Jacob Fatu match, I will have a hard time not going and sit in front row to watch it, because it will be something beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it'll be incredible. Appreciate that insight. The Lucha Underground name that you're looking for is Matanza.
Yeah.
That was his name. Also, interesting fact, Jeff Cobb was an amateur wrestler. He represented Guam in the 2004 Summer Olympics, where he became Guam's flag bearer in the opening ceremony, competed in the men's light heavyweight freestyle category. Wow. All right. I mean, like,
so this. Legit. I mean, he's legit.
This is just another edition of Otis, right? Like, this is like Otis on the SmackDown brand,
but better, but a lot better.
Is he as funny?
Maybe not as entertaining as Otis.
I was going to say, is he as funny?
Otis is pretty entertaining.
Okay.
But he's the scary version of Otis. I'll say that.
Speaking of not Otis, scary version, I guess. As we look back at the rest of Backlash, this fatal 4-way match is my biggest takeaway of the night. Like, dude, from beginning to end, a show stealer. We knew it was going to be, but these 4 guys, the other guys in the match, obviously Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, so I just showed a picture of there. Then you had Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. I hated that LA Knight ate the pin here, but obviously who else is going to eat the pin? But just a fantastic match all around, dude. Like, I was thoroughly entertained by this. It was fatal 4-way done the right way. Everybody had a moment to shine in this match in one way or another, but dude, this match was tailor-made to showcase the U.S. champ, Jacob Fatu, and exactly what he can do. Just an incredible performance.
Yeah, if you need any more indication that they have the rocket strapped to Jacob Fatu's back, this is him and Braun Breaker are both on this like upwards massive trajectory that they're just heading straight to the top within the next year or so. And so, yeah, I loved it. It was a car crash. It was chaotic. It was all over the place. But the thing I love the most is it was 4 completely different styles of wrestling coming together, and they meshed it so well, where, like you said, everybody got their moment. Everybody got an opportunity to stand out and shine. And then you have the big debut. You have Solo coming out. You have the tension between the bloodline. Jacob gets the win. And they made that story a little bit more interesting now. So I'm very excited to see where we go from here. But that was match of the night for me, was that fatal 4-way.
For sure. Yeah, me as well. For those of you who are in the chat, we have a poll going up. What was your favorite match of WWE Backlash? Make sure you vote. And if you don't see your choice there, just make sure you drop it in the comments. Again, we are reading those. We are taking those live. We'll answer your questions, all the things. Andy, what else do you take away from Backlash? As you and I texted after Backlash and before we started recording, like, the show was a really solid show. Really entertaining show, but from a results standpoint, nothing really that shocking. So what was another big takeaway from Backlash for you?
I think the only shocking result, and it even wasn't that shocking, was Lyra retaining. But I think they're obviously they're going to tell this story for a while until Bayley comes back, and then we go with Becky and Bayley.
Sure.
But the match itself between these two was phenomenal. They had a really, really good match. Really good. Lyra has done a great job in this entire build post WrestleMania of letting everybody know she belongs. Like, she belongs in this main event level spot. She belongs to be in there with the Baileys and the Beckys of the world. And she's holding her own. And so I'm excited to see where they go with her in the future.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that match. I thought it went a little long, but the last 5 minutes you could have cut that off. But I was very entertained by that. I thought McAfee and Gunther was fine. It was what it was with a McAfee match. I'm curious from a Gunther purist standpoint, what you thought about him showing respect to McAfee after the match.
I didn't really think anything of it. I thought it was kind of weird, and kind of out of place.
Yep.
But part of it too, like the way he did it was kind of like, yeah, like I respect you, but like you're still beneath me. Like
Sure.
he kind of held it over them. I would have given anything to see Michael Cole take a power bomb. Part of me was hoping that Gunther was going to hoist him up and drop him down. But yeah, the match itself was fine. I thought Pat got a little too much offense in, and it was a little too back and forth.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the right result still the same, which is great. But please do something to make these "you tapped out" chants go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate that every single week for him because they did such a great job of building him up for like the last 3 years, and now that's what he's become, is the "you tapped out" guy.
Yeah, for sure. It's a sticky situation, slippery slope, I guess. One of my favorite takeaways from Backlash, and then we'll move on. One of my favorite takeaways was during the Dominic Mysterio and Penta match when Finn Balor comes out and he's going to use the chair. Literally, Michael Cole on commentary says that Balor fiddle farted around with the chair. Nowhere on my bingo card did I think Michael Cole was going to use the phrase fiddle farted around on a live wrestling show. I literally almost fell out of my chair laughing.
I missed that. That's awesome.
Yes. When Balor's going
that is amazing.
there and he's delayed in getting it because the ref catches him, Michael Cole says, he fiddle farted around getting the chair. It's like, bro, what are you doing?
Oh, Michael. Oh, Cole, don't change.
Oh man, it's so good. City Kitty in the chat giving us some love there. She loved that too. Yeah, man, that's Backlash. It was a fine show, and we'll march on to Saturday night's main event and Money in the Bank. But before we get there, let's take a pause for the cause and let you hear a little word from our friend Tom Bryce and Sports Wire Radio.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck, because Sports Wire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, with great shows in the world of sports such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows, New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska, the Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip, Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind, Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, Sports Wire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org, and you can also catch Sports Wire Radio anytime on YouTube at Sports Wire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. Sports Wire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on Sports Wire Radio. I am your host, the owner of Sports Wire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Thank you, Tom Bryce, all the crew over at Sports Wire Radio. You heard Tom list everybody off. I'm not going to try to repeat it because I will clearly forget somebody. But a fantastic crew over there. It's like everybody supports everybody over in Sports Wire Radio. It's a family for sure. We've been on Sports Wire, golly, since like 4 years, I think, now at this point. But we appreciate the heck out of those guys so much. Also, our other sponsor that plays our show on their network that we don't give enough love to, and that's WSN Wrestling Society Network. Professor Bear and that crew over there, we appreciate them as well. They do a lot to play our shows on all of their platforms that they have. So we appreciate them very much. Andy, let's run through some quick hitters from Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, and let's call this one an episode. The first thing that we got to hit is what happened after Raw went off the air last week, after Jey Uso successfully retaining his title against Seth Rollins. Logan Paul pops up after the show and knocks Jey Uso out, issues the challenge. The match has been made official, Andy. Saturday night's main event coming up 2 weeks from last Saturday. Jey Uso, Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is fine, right? It's a great chance for Logan Paul, the YouTube star that everybody knows, to be on cable television, getting a world title shot. Maybe it'd even make Jey Uso look a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point of this, is just to feed Logan to Jey Uso in a big spot, let Jey get the win, move on. Obviously, we heard tonight as well, Gunther is facing the winner of this match at some point in the line. So running back Jey and Gunther. But I really, in the world of WWE today, there's never a 0% chance that Logan Paul is going to lose. I think there's always an opportunity for him to win. But I don't think it's time for him to win yet.
Especially a world title match, Andy, because you and I have speculated since he debuted, at some point he will win a world championship. Like they're too smart not to put the world title on him at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I think they could. I think they're more likely to put the NXT title on him than an actual world title on him.
Maybe they should do that. Maybe they should hire you. If is there a writer opening or something?
I don't know. I don't think. I think Triple H is somewhat too much of a purist to have someone like Logan Paul be a world title, be a world champ. But if he does win it, he's not going to have a long reign with it.
Sure. Yeah.
He'll drop it pretty quick.
Yeah, not nearly as long as the U.S. Championship. That's for sure.
That was way too long.
Let's circle back to the Gunther match, because it's very interesting that it has been made official. Gunther will challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, the winner of Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. Did you catch when this match is, Andy?
They said in Phoenix.
They said that match is 4 weeks from tonight. You know what 4 weeks from tonight is? The Raw after Money in the Bank. So, Andy, I'll go on record right now. I will make this prediction for the Raw after Money in the Bank. Jey Uso defends against Gunther in the main event. Somehow Jey Uso squeaks by Gunther, not tapping him out this time. He squeaks by this time because we're going to get a vicious Gunther. And what happens at the end of the night? Heist of the Century Part 2. Seth Rollins cashes in Money in the Bank and wins the championship from Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. There's your prediction. Or it's not a prediction. It is a spoiler.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, or I could see Logan Paul doing it.
Or you can say, yep, that's true.
But
that's true.
Yeah, I would say Seth is more likely to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and then cash in. Although, Punk said it tonight in his promo that as long as he's on his 2 feet, as long as he has 2 feet, Seth Rollins will never be world champ. And we saw last time he made that promise and somebody tried to cash in. What happened? So
yes,
I'd be careful. I'd be careful about that one.
That is true. You know what? Also, while I'm sitting here making bold predictions, what do you think the chances? Again, Sam Roberts, I'm gonna steal your phrase, bro. I don't know if you trademarked it or not. Speculate wildly here. What if, Andy, because Money in the Bank qualifying matches start next week, what if Braun Breaker is Mr. Money in the Bank and he cashes in but allows Seth Rollins to take the championship, thus starting already the tension between the two?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. I don't hate that. I really like that. I also like that Seth doesn't even try to it's not even about the cash in. Seth just outright wins the world title at some point, and Braun has it as the insurance policy. If anything happens, he can cash it in and then give it to Seth.
Yes.
And then as we move down the line,
yes,
Braun cashes in on Seth and wins the world title. And then we head into WrestleMania of Braun and Seth. So I could see something like that. I think those two right now are my favorites to win Money in the Bank. I'm trying to think of like who else could use it. On the men's side, maybe Cody.
Cody.
I'm not a huge fan of like a babyface holding Money in the Bank. I think it's
if you've got a heel champion though.
Yeah, but even then, because then he's going to do the whole, I'm going to let you know when I'm cashing it. Just cash in. Like, just do it the way it was meant to be. I could see, I mean, I think it's way too early for like a Penta to win it.
Yes.
I don't think Jacob Fatu is going to be in it. LA Knight, maybe. Like, I think he's the one guy that could be a babyface and carry it around and hold it. Obviously, CM Punk is a guy that could be a babyface and carry around and hold it. But I do think Seth and Braun are the two favorites right now to win it.
You're looking at the women's side. I know this is absolutely not in my notes. I'm going off script here. You're looking at the women's side. You're making an early prediction. We're about 4 weeks away. Who could walk away as Ms. Money in the Bank?
Man, I said it a couple weeks ago, and after tonight, I'm sticking with it. I think Roxanne Perez could be Miss Money in the Bank. I think she has a great opportunity to do it. Maybe like an Alexa Bliss again. I think she could be Miss Money in the Bank. But if my heart could pick, I would love Chelsea Green to be Miss Money in the Bank. I think that would be so much fun to watch.
I was just about to say there is one answer and there is one answer only. Chelsea Green. Listen.
She'd be the first to lose when she cashes in.
That is incorrect. That will not happen. And here's why. It would be hilarious if it does, okay? And I'll be for it. But listen, here's why I don't think it's going to happen. That woman just gets 2 minutes of television time, and it is gold. It's absolute gold. Yeah. There is a reason she was the first ever Women's United States champion. Now they've taken the title off of her. Zelina Vega is getting zero reaction. So they're trying. I applaud them. But listen, Chelsea did some fantastic things with that championship. She is over with the crowd. You and I were in the crowd for Royal Rumble. And aside from Alexa Bliss, it was Chelsea Green getting the biggest reaction that night. They hear that. They know that. They know how good she is. They being WWE pronouns pal. I think Chelsea Green winning the Money in the Bank and cashing in on Tiffany Stratton is a perfect way for her to be champion. That's my pick.
Yeah. I mean, I think I could absolutely see that happening. I think it makes a lot of sense for her to do it. I think the things she would do with that briefcase would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And she would be she would just be amazing with it. So I think she would carry it around like it was like the nuclear launch codes.
Yeah.
Like she would just, it was that briefcase that she would just carry around, have it taped to or handcuffed to her wrist as she's walking around. Or like Piper would have a handcuff to her wrist, something like that. I would love it.
That's the one thing. That's the one caveat to her being Miss Money in the Bank is she has to have a long reign with the briefcase.
Yep.
Like she cannot cash in right away.
No,
we've got to see the shenanigans that are going to happen with her in the briefcase. Speaking of Alexa Bliss, she made her long-awaited return this past Friday on SmackDown. Andy, I, like most people, thought it was cheap pop. They're in Ohio. Dayton's close to Columbus. Okay, bring in Alexa Black, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great, fine. But Andy, later in the show, she confronts a returning Charlotte Flair as well and says they need to talk. Andy, what is this about?
I honestly have no idea. I've been trying to think what could this be, and I have no idea.
I know.
Maybe like going after the women's title together, or I don't know. I hope we're not heading into a Charlotte feud with the Wyatt Six involvement of Alexa Bliss and all that, because that would be weird. And I don't know how Charlotte would do with a gimmick like that or something like that. But other than that, I honestly have no idea where they could go with this unless they're going to be like a tag team together. But even then, that doesn't make sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense either. I honestly, man, like seeing this, I don't know that Alexa's going to be with the Wyatt Six. Like I know that's the ironclad rumor on the internet wrestling community that is what's happening. Well, Andy, I got news for the internet wrestling community. The ironclad rumor for Backlash was that Goldberg was going to help Pat McAfee, and they're setting up this match with Gunther. And guess what? Did not happen at Backlash. Goldberg was not there. All I'm saying is, yes, Alexa and the Wyatt Six makes a ton of sense, but this makes me think they might be going somewhere else.
Yeah, but then again, why would you keep her off TV after you literally brought her back at the Rumble?
That's also fair. I don't know.
Like that may be the plan now, but I think the plan probably originally was something with the Wyatt Six, and maybe they've pivoted, maybe they moved on. I don't know.
Pivot. That's the word. Pivot.
I hate that word now. But I don't know. Like I still think there's a really good chance that she is going to be involved with the Wyatt Six because that group had too much steam and then just like stopped.
Yes, literally.
So they could easily pick it back up if they do, like if they play their cards right. But I don't know what other options there are after this.
I will say this: it's the most intriguing storyline with Charlotte Flair that has happened in a long, long time. Basically, Andy, because we don't know. Like Charlotte is one of the more predictable storylines of any wrestler ever. And this one, it's kind of like her and Alexa have had like one match. Remember when she tore Lily all to pieces when she got the title shot? And I think
I forgot about that.
I think that was in 2020, wasn't it?
It was in the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was their only, maybe one other match or so, but these two have never really crossed paths. So I'm intrigued here. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. I don't know, but keep it locked in right here to Squared Circle Radio. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to speculate wildly, as Sam Roberts likes to say, and we're going to keep you covered for all things WWE for just this incredible ride that we are on. As I said earlier, Andy, Saturday night's main event, less than 2 weeks away, Memorial Day weekend. 2 weeks after that, Money in the Bank. And then 3 weeks after that is Night of Champions. And then 3 weeks after that, seemingly, is the Women's Evolution pay-per-view. And then SummerSlam will be here 3 weeks after that. And
is there a Saturday night's main event the weekend of Evolution too, I think?
Yes, there is a Saturday night's main event, the weekend of Evolution as well. And then we're at SummerSlam, and then you think we can breathe, and then we can't. Andy, it just doesn't stop.
Nope, it does not. It's a lot. There's a lot of wrestling coming our way.
And then at some point, SmackDown is going to go back to 2 hours, which that was rumored to be in May. Now the internet wrestling community says the beginning of June. So who knows when we're doing that. But that doesn't matter because Squared Circle Radio is going to be right back here for you. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do that. Hit that notifications bell. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us so much. Like 80-something% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. What are you waiting for, guys? Just subscribe. You're watching the show anyway. Just subscribe. It helps us so much. Like the video. It helps the algorithm. Helps more people see the show. Gets in feeds. Let me tell you real quick how the like button works. So if you're watching our show and you hit the like button and you're watching other content, there are other people on planet Earth that are watching that content as well. So what happens is if you hit the like button, our show gets fed into their algorithm because you're already watching the same thing. So it just helps the show out. It just keeps the world turning and tells more people about Squared Circle Radio. There's your YouTube lesson. I'm probably wrong. Aaron Grisham will call me out, and it's fine. He does on a daily basis. I'm used to it. All right. Man, as we get ready to sign off, anything else to add before we wrap this one up?
No, just another crazy week of wrestling and more weeks of like that to come, I'm sure. And we're looking forward to it. I mean, I can't believe we're already here at next week, Saturday night's main event. And then we're at Money in the Bank, which is one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. And then you blink and we'll be at WrestleMania. So it's crazy how fast this thing moves. But like you said, we're going to be here every week to talk about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is absolutely going to be a lot of fun. We hope that you will continue on this ride with us, especially if you're new. And if you've stuck with us for a long time, just like the Hideaway Boys there in Pikeville, Kentucky, 2 locations. We appreciate Gabe and Sean and their support. City Kitty always chiming in the chat. Just so many folks that help us do what we do. Yeah, wrestling has no off season. City Kitty right on cue. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your support to Sports Wire Radio and WSN for playing our shows. Thank you so much for Jared Justice, who couldn't be here tonight, my tag team partner, Andy York. My name's Chris Belcher. This has been yet another edition of Squared Circle Radio, and we will catch you guys down the road.